Welcome to A Shot Between the Reels. My name is Dan, and over on this side...
My name is Brendan.
Hello, Brendan!
Hello, Dan.
How are you today, sir?
All as well. All the better for seeing your face.
Oh, that's very kind. That's very kind. It is always good to see your face as well, sir. Brilliant. We are back once again, and we are having frank discussions about two films tonight. Yes, not just one, two.
Exciting stuff.
Now, we are venturing onto something we've not done before either. Fresh territory here, Brendan. Breaking new ground.
Always love that.
Not only are we doing two films, this is part one of a three-part series. We must be crazy. I think we are. Looking at a particular franchise.
Yeah.
Brendan, what is the franchise we are looking at?
So I was very excited for this. You told me that all of these films were on Amazon Prime, which immediately piqued my interest because I haven't seen all of them, but I have seen some of them. We will be reviewing this time around Resident Evil. And the second one, which I think it's Apocalypse, right?
Yes, Resident Evil Apocalypse.
There we go. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I think, Brendan, let's get into it. Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Shall we go straight in for a star rating?
Okay.
How do you feel about that, Brendan?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. So for Resident Evil, I gave it 3 stars.
Ooh, 3 stars. Okay, that's a recommendation.
Yeah.
From A Shot Between the Reels.
Yep.
I gave Resident Evil, the first one, 3.5 stars. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do some positives about Resident Evil. But before we do that, actually, we need to know what's the story. So before I ask you the plot, Brendan.
Yeah, go on.
I know you like video games.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played the Resident Evil video games? How many? A few of them, or?
Yeah, so I've played basically the first 4 games. So not a whole ton. I've watched some of the bits of some of the other later games, so I know some of the ridiculousness. But I followed the first ones. You know, I was younger when they came out, and I enjoyed them on the original PlayStation. So I got my time with Resident Evil. I probably couldn't play it anymore because it would terrify me far too much. But those original games are pretty good. And as you may or may not know, recently they did a remake or a retooling, effectively, of Resident Evil 2, which was very good.
Okay. And they've done it before as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they redid the entire thing, and it looks fantastic. Works really well. If anything, improves upon the original. And the original is very good.
Feel like from my memory.
Yeah.
So the only one I had was number 4.
Okay.
I really enjoyed playing that.
That's good.
I thought it was great. I thought it was a really, really good game.
Yeah.
But I didn't play any others. But I feel like number 2 was that's held up as the one that was a classic. Like the first one was good, but the second one was just an all-time classic game.
Yeah, it's very cinematic. The way it's the way it's paced out is very good. It just feels, it feels genuinely a good horror game. That's what. Is
that the one that's in Raccoon City?
Yeah.
And you're the guy as the cop.
Yeah, yeah. You're Leon, and so you have all the thing of going into the police station and the various things that you uncover. It feels very much more the feeling of actually how the second film is from the get-go, that everything has gone to hell in Raccoon City.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the video games. We have a bit of familiarity with the franchise from the video game point of view.
Yeah.
This is the movie cinematic universe.
Yeah, so I feel that we should very much treat it as what it is. It's yes, they have the same namesake, but other than taking a few other holdovers, mainly they are their thing, aren't they?
They're definitely cutting their own path, aren't
Yes, yeah, for sure.
they? Okay, so let's talk about Resident Evil, the first one.
Yeah.
Fancy giving us a bit of a plot?
Yeah, so a bit of a plot is that at the beginning of the film, we see an underground lab sort of area. We don't know too much about it. We're given a little bit of spiel about Umbrella Corp effectively being a very powerful organization that have their fingers in a lot of different pies, but mainly they are doing kind of shady operatives alongside everything else that's happening that the main public see, and they work inside of the medical sector, but they are doing hazardous experiments, shall we say.
They're messing around with viral weaponry, aren't they?
Yes.
That's part of it, and that's where things go wrong.
So they release a virus. We don't know all that much about it, and then we slowly see it unfold. We have a main central character in Alice, played by Mia Jovovich, and she is going in, and along with various other people, and they're trying to kind of find out what's happened, stop any threat. That's the basic overarching things happening, and various other plots are going alongside that as well.
And to make it interesting, she's basically got amnesia.
Yes.
And so there are different characters in this group. People know different amounts of information.
Yeah.
And it's basically a horror film, really.
Yeah.
It's zombie horror.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do our star. Have we done the star? We've done the star.
We did it.
We need to go into the positives. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Brennan?
I think I was going to start off by saying, with the first film, the way it opens, its entire opening sequence, it feels. I don't think it's entirely unfair to say it has a lot of B movie qualities.
Yeah.
But not a terrible B movie, like a B movie that would have a very good budget. It's got a lot going for it in the beginning, and I remember when I was watching it again, I was thinking, I do actually really like the way this film starts. It feels as if it's building up with laying down good horror vibes. So it's giving you just enough information, and it's building up to something, and you can see the potential danger that's happening, but you don't really know too much, and you're going to eventually get that. So the beginning of the film, the genuine terror that's felt is actually quite good, I think.
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah. So all of that, positive. There are some good acting performances on a whole.
Yeah.
I think it's all right. And also some of the practical effects, genuinely not too bad.
Yeah, I agree. The only, and I know we're going to dip into a negative here, but the only special effect that doesn't work is kind of that mutated thing.
Yeah, the liquor
at the end.
The liquor is bad, basically, really bad.
Hasn't aged well. Let's put it like that.
I mean, I don't think it even aged well when it came out, to be honest.
No, they basically took footage off the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation, didn't they? Just dropped it into the film. It wasn't particularly good.
That was bad.
But there's genuinely good stuff here. I mean, I would agree about the start. I think as well, it very much feels of its time. It's 2002, and it kind of feels like it.
Oh, you've got it all, because it's got the music is very much that.
Yeah. But the music, I feel like it's honouring the game, so it's a bit kind of late 90s, isn't it? And kind of 90s kind of video game kind of music in a film, which is cheesy, and that's where you get a bit of a B movie feel for sure. I agree with that. It kind of feels like a bit of a cult film when you're watching it. Like this is a guilty pleasure kind of film.
Do you think the editing also kind of ages it? I felt the editing felt as if it was a film of its time.
Yeah, 100%. like weird slow-mos, black and white, handheld fuzzy shots,
Yeah.
all that stuff,
Like that
flashbacks,
whip hands, all sorts of kind of like weird stuff.
angled
Yeah.
camera, it's like okay,
The
yeah,
general horror tropes as well, how it handles all of that.
yeah,
Scary reveals, yeah.
yeah, and you kind of got this group of people who've been picked off one by one.
You know
Yes,
who's going, basically.
yeah. While they're all the while they're trying to find out this mystery and trying to get out, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and although it's all kind of fairly run of the mill, I think it's quite enjoyable. One particular bit I thought was great was the dogs. Those zombie dog things are brilliant, especially when that kind of it combines with a moment where kind of Alice's body kind of takes over and she kind of deals with these dogs and does this amazing kick, which kind of feels like it's out of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I laughed at that scene, but I
yeah,
actually loved it.
yeah,
Really bad.
exactly. You kind of, it's one to enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You laugh at it and with it, and yeah, enjoy it
Yeah.
for
She
sure.
does the most badass kick to a dog's face
Yeah,
that I think I've seen in a film. So
100%.
it's great.
Yeah, and I think the cast. You mentioned the cast. I think there's some great people in this.
Yeah.
Special mention to Michelle Rodriguez, who I think we were texting each other.
I forgot. I
So good.
genuinely forgot she was in this film, and I
Yeah,
thought,
she's always
man,
so good.
pleasant surprise.
And
Nailed it on the casting.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm pretty sure we might see her again.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't think she's only in that one.
Interesting. Okay.
No, don't ask me how, because she clearly
Seems
doesn't.
like she has a pretty definitive end in this film.
Yeah, so there you go. But I also love how Colin Salmon is in this. I don't know if people remember him from the Pierce Brosnan Bond films, but over in the UK, he was also on Strictly Come Dancing,
Yeah.
which is amazing, and he's great in it. And he reminds me as well of another absolutely brilliant scene, nearish the start of the film in that first 20 minutes,
Yeah.
where they're trying to get into the vault to get to the Red Queen to retrieve or do whatever they're meant to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be honest, I kind of lost interest in what they were trying to do.
Yeah. They're doing something with it. I can't
Yes,
remember exactly what.
but they don't realise that there's some sort of dormant security system in place that they don't realise. And basically, in that corridor, they're all trapped. There's 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
And the laser beams are coming across and chopping them up. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It's really good. There's actually some quite. This is the weird thing that I didn't understand. There's actually some quite good special effects that are on display.
Yeah, that's it.
Here.
This is great.
Yeah, even in this moment, they're really good. And then you have those awful lickers, which completely ruin the film.
Okay.
So I don't understand what happened there. Maybe it's because they're dealing with geometrics and shapes and stuff, and it's a slightly different type of thing as opposed to just creating a creature that no one's ever seen before.
Exactly.
But that scene, yeah, really great. And you feel the tension in the moment. It's it's dumb. It's definitely dumb, but it's enjoyable.
Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the zombie genre. Okay. Now, recent times, the zombie genre is dominated by a television show.
Yes.
The Walking Dead, for the last, I don't know how many years, best part of 10 years now.
Yeah.
It's completely dominated the zombie genre.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think how many films I've seen that are zombie ones, aside from Resident Evil. I think of, I don't know, there's Shaun of the Dead, which is great.
Yeah. 28 days later, 28 weeks later.
Yeah, there's those. I think, beyond that, I feel like most of them are older. I don't.
Probably more
Yeah, I don't feel like it's a genre that I'm massively fussed about personally.
It's Fair.
And I feel like that's probably because I gave up on Walking Dead. I don't know what season it was, season 7 or something.
Yeah, I gave up a long time ago.
Because I was just so like, I was tired of zombies eating people. So it was interesting for me to go back and watch a film predating The Walking Dead,
Okay.
and to kind of see that in action in a different setting with different people,
Yeah.
and see how things progress. Because you get to know the rules a bit about what zombies do and what they shouldn't do. And I know different films have different rules. The other one would be World War Z,
Of
where
course.
they can run, which is a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
Um,
But there's a general consensus, isn't there, for how the whole zombie aesthetic works? Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
in this film, it did make me laugh as well. How like it took them a while to realise that they were zombies, didn't it? It was kind of like
Until they're basically
they're trying
right
to
on
eat
top
you.
of them.
Yeah, like trying
Yeah.
to eat you. Like they're not like just trying to punch you. They're going
Well,
teeth
they
first.
look weird. They look kind of strange. They're moving in a strange way. They look dead. No, none
Their
of them.
eyes are completely like glassy. They're dead. Yes, it's a bit strange, like because surely they would have seen a few zombie films. But hey ho, yes, I know.
That's a rule, Dan, that in any zombie film or TV show, they usually have never seen
Yeah,
anything relating to zombies ever.
is this actually a zombie? It is.
What's a zombie?
Yes, quite. So yeah, uh, there's. I think probably the thing that doesn't work about this film is that it's just a bit cheesy. I think the I'm not quite convinced about the group because at one point they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let you die," and I'm like, "Well, 20 minutes earlier, you didn't know who this
No.
person was." And like that, then they're all of a sudden on first name basis
They
with
I,
each other.
they're probably they are working very hard to make her as sympathetic a character as possible,
Yeah,
aren't they? Which is why she's established as being a kick-ass, but then she's a badass, but then also she's very likable because she's still getting her memory back. So we have all of that.
yeah,
I would say that exposition dumps are always lazy, and I don't like them for the most part,
yeah.
unless they're absolutely really necessary. And for
There's plenty of those. Yeah,
a film like this, it wasn't needed. They could have done it in another way. They could have told it through environmental storytelling. They could have probably just done without it altogether, and you get the same
yeah,
enjoyment out of the film without it. The
yeah.
liquors, real letdown. And
One thing I've just remembered that I liked
go on.
was because they're in this thing called the Hive.
Yes.
Every now and then you get pulled out, don't you? And you have like the 3D graphic of the
Yes.
Hive,
Yeah.
which is kind of what you'd see on a video game. Like if you hit pause or select or something,
Yeah.
the map comes up.
Yeah.
I actually really like that. I thought that was a really clever touch, and you could see where they were.
Well, it works for the character, doesn't it? Because you
Yeah,
have the Red Queen that is
yeah,
watching them.
exactly. And she's very good.
Yeah.
It's flipping creepy when
Yeah.
she starts talking, and it's
Oh,
like
it's always creepy.
English. I think
Had to be a little girl. They had
yeah,
to do it.
a young English girl. Now, for whatever reason, the English accent, when it's slightly posh, it just works for being evil, doesn't
It
it?
does. It does. As it's been proven many times,
Yeah,
apparently. But that stuff, some of it, I agree, works and it frames the story nicely in that sense.
yeah,
Some of the other things, I would agree, it's cheesy. And the other thing I noticed, I don't know if you noticed the same, but it seemed that I was trying to follow where all these characters were at all time. And when it gets really chaotic,
yeah.
suddenly the group gets separated from each other
Yeah,
and
you're how did that
they're
happen?
somehow in the same room again. I'm like, how did they get near each other?
Yeah,
A minute ago, that everyone's in peril, and then suddenly they're in the same area.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Seemed cut weird, very weird. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think the other thing that I was very, very aware of, and I think this is going to be a reoccurring uh, critique, perhaps. I'm not sure whether I want to call it a critique.
Go
So,
on.
an observation. There is a lot of moments where I felt like, okay, so this moment, what we're watching now, is to basically give nerds what I want to call a nerdgasm. Yeah?
Okay.
There are people, men who have played the video games who like this kind of genre, probably
I mean,
seeing
you won't
ladies,
necessarily say it's just man down. It could be.
could be ladies as well. That's true. That's true. Probably in 2002, we would
Yes,
have said
agreed.
men. In
Agreed.
2020, we're saying men and ladies. Fair enough, each their own. Um, there's a lot to enjoy visually here, and I think probably a lot of nerdgasms going on. That's all I want to say.
I mean, that outfit is unnecessary. Let's put that out there.
Yeah, and I think that's not going to get better in the next film. So
There's no reason for that outfit at all. They don't give a reason. They never say anything about it. It's just put this on.
Yeah,
And that's it.
exactly. Now, there's another criticism that I want to put in, but I think I'm going to save it for the next film.
Okay, yeah.
Applies for the next film as well.
Okay.
So I've got my pencil here, so I'm doing very kind of note taking.
So let's hear your star rating for Resident Evil Apocalypse.
Now, I am denied on this one. I have to say, most of the time when I was watching this film, I thought, crikey, this is awful. This is not good. But I gave it 2.5 stars.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, so on another day, it might have been 2, I'll be honest.
Okay.
Brennan, over to you, sir.
I gave this film, again, I the nod a little bit, but I settled on 2 stars.
Yeah. I kind of feel like maybe this is a 2-star film, but I'm going to stick with 2.5.
Okay.
I'll tell you why later.
Yep.
So, plot for this one, it kind of it's leading straight off the end of the first one, basically, isn't there? There's no
more or less straight out. There's maybe a slight time gap, very slight.
Well, we're talking hours, maybe a day.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, because there's already a time gap at the end of the first one.
Yes, absolutely.
So by the time we've got to that bit, it's basically get-go. And we see that Raccoon City, which is the nearby city, the T virus has spread out.
Yeah.
And zombies are afoot and taking over the city.
Yeah.
And yeah, Umbrella Corporation, the friendly bunch that they are, managed to kind of wall off the city somehow very quickly.
Lock it down in some sort of way, giant doors and
big walls magically appear. And we see Alice has returned into the world.
Yeah.
But she's different this time.
She is.
Do things she couldn't do before. The Umbrella Corp have messed about with her. And yeah, but we've got a few new characters here as well.
Yes, we do.
Some familiar ones from the video games.
Yeah, we do. We have at least. I'm trying to think. It's been years since I've played it, but we have at least one.
Jill Valentine.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, is she in the original game?
I thought she was only. I thought she was only in the second, or she first appears in the second. But I could be wrong. It's possible.
Can't remember. So she turns up, and there's a few other characters as well, kind of marine type characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of witnessing this city going to hell because of zombies. Yeah. The Umbrella Corporation are basically playing games with their experiments. So the other person who survives the first film, this guy who has been bitten, he's got the virus, he's been experimented on, and they've created I mean, how do you describe what he is,
they've created a monstrosity in Nemesis. So Nemesis in the games turns up in the third game, which is cool, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. But they decided to bring him out early for this one, but he's essentially the ultimate bioweapon. So he looks just absolutely disgusting and is a non-stop killing machine. Think of him like a really disgusting looking Terminator.
Yeah, I was thinking that he's part Terminator because you've got like the computer screen going on, and like, they're kind of controlling him.
Yeah,
and he's targeting people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's tech inside his head, as well as the bioweapon sort of aspect.
Yeah, so very strong, like freakishly strong, all the rest of that.
I mean, he looks absolutely stupid, if you ask me.
He looks.
I don't know why he is wearing a skirt.
Because he can.
Whether that's kind of either like, at first I thought, oh, is it like a samurai? Kind of like, it's not a proper skirt, it's kind of like a flap. I was like, no, it's not. Is it like a kilt? Was
but
this
Swedish?
I was like, no.
If this film had come out today, he would have been completely computer generated.
Yeah, and it probably would have been better, perhaps. I mean, there are moments where you're like, this guy's head is massive compared to his body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched this film, I did not like Nemesis. I thought it was a bit of a joke, really. But in essence, in the film, they end up pitting her, Alice, against Nemesis, don't they? Because they're kind of the two experiments, trying to work out which one is the more successful weapon, I guess.
Yeah.
And also within that, we've got a guy who works for Umbrella, played by Jared Harris. Who,
talk about a great actor, probably starting out or he might not have been starting out at this point. I don't know, but
certainly early on, isn't it, in his career?
Yeah, he's given it good in this film, I think, and it feels
he's a bit typecast, isn't he? He's kind of like, oh, let's give him the posh English professor
scientist role. Yeah.
So yeah, and his daughter is trapped inside, and he wants to get her out, and he does a deal with some of these characters to get them out, and that he'll help them.
Various different characters almost pitted against each other without really realizing it. Yeah.
Now, I was waiting for it, but it didn't come. But she is the Red Queen, right? Like,
I think
she looked like the Red Queen,
isn't it? Assumed because she seems exactly the same, doesn't she?
Yeah, but it's never explicitly said, is it?
No.
But I'm sure it's the same girl doing the voice, or if not,
sounds very. If it's not her, it's very similar,
and definitely looks similar. So, although she's not, obviously, the child herself as a character is not the Red Queen, but the Red Queen is based upon her.
Yeah.
So clearly, this guy is kind of more involved than probably just being a guy who works there. He's also the inventor of the T virus, and uses it to keep her from sort of suffering the debilitating illness that he has.
Yeah, so she's infected with it, as we know Alice also is. So
yeah. So in that sense, I didn't mind that storyline so much.
No.
I thought that was okay. That bit worked better, if you ask me. But there's some awful bits in this film.
Yeah, there's a long list. I think there's a pretty long list.
Yeah. Okay, can I go for one?
Go on.
Jill Valentine, right? They basically make her, I mean, she basically looks a bit like Lara Croft. She looks like a video game character.
Yeah.
I mean, her hair, considering what happens in this film, her hair never changes. Okay, she looks like, before they've shot every scene, she's just gone back to the hair salon.
Yeah.
And had it, like, perfectly done again. Like, she literally looks like a video game character.
And let's not understate this. They go through explosions and all manner of things in this film.
Her face, only at the end does she have dirt on it.
Yeah.
at no point does she get like grime, or, like considering the stuff they do. They're on the floor. There's blood going everywhere. Yeah, I just don't get it. It's a
Again,
bit
the outfit is pointless, other than I think probably fan service. Again, like you're saying.
nerdgasm. That's all I'm going to say.
I'd hasten to agree, I think.
Yeah. So some of the
Pointless.
dialogue is awful. Okay, just plain awful.
Yeah.
Not believable. Some of the acting is. I mean, I don't want to blame the actors necessarily. I think it probably is just badly written. Even some of the stuff that Mila Jovovich has to say, it's just so bad.
She's got a bit more of a backseat role in this, right? Though she's not
Yeah.
as full center on a lot of this.
No, and I don't. I think it worked better in the first time. She much more interesting character, much more nuanced. This time, like, she's just a bit mental, really.
Because you're finding things out alongside her in the first film, but in the second film, we already know her character.
Yeah.
And so maybe they felt this is an opportunity to follow these other characters, which sadly aren't all that interesting and you don't have all that much care for. So when someone passes, you think, well, that's just that.
I was slightly distracted by the guy who was played by Mike Epps, who is called LJ. Because I just think of him, he's the wrong Doug in The Hangover.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's the guy who's the wrong Doug in The Hangover. And like every time he appears, I just think of The Hangover and probably think I'd rather be watching that. Yeah, but he does have a great line when he's in the car and there's a zombie in the road and he's like, GTA! And like, he just runs over the zombie. That was genuinely brilliant.
I wrote that down. I did enjoy that. And that he gets distracted, doesn't he, by then immediately after the zombie strippers.
It just crashes.
It just crashes.
That's another nerdgasm moment. Zombie strippers.
Yeah.
With boobs out, just walking around the streets.
Just because, right?
Yeah.
The first film worked, so they thought, why not?
just hilarious. And the other moment with his character as well, when when he stumbles into that sort of place where there's other sort of soldier types.
Yeah, the compound with all the stars operatives.
They try to hand him a gun, and he's like a custom, and he's got these gold handguns, and then obviously you can't use them because he's so petrified. Yeah. But yeah, that moment was quite funny.
Yeah, he's good. He provides some levity.
Yeah, it's comic relief, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I didn't like the what's his name, the Oliveira character.
Oh, yeah.
I have a bad feeling he comes back in another film.
Don't say that. Oh, probably. I mean, there's at least a few of them that survive.
Well, no, actually, they said in there, by the end there's a helicopter crash, but they only find Alice's body, don't they? They don't find anyone else.
Oh, this is true.
And then they break her out. So he's definitely the next film.
That's it. They show up. I forgot. They do show up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that good, isn't it? We've forgotten the ending. Right, now, can I have my rant about the ending?
Yeah, let's hear it.
And this applies to the first film as well. Okay.
Go on.
It's more forgiving in the first film because it does that annoying thing where 15 minutes before the end of the actual film, you get the end of the story of what's actually happening in the film, and you get the setup for the next one. Okay. Now, I think what's annoying in the second one more so is because basically the same thing happens again.
Yeah.
In a slightly different fashion. So Alice is captured and she's back in a lab and then escapes. So it's more, in some ways it's more interesting, this one, because she kind of, Ian Glenn's there, who we see flashbacks of.
Again, I thought, oh my word, Ian Glenn.
I know. Genuinely good, and like, we've got an English guy, so we know he's a bad guy.
Of
Okay.
course, yeah. I mean, they can't break tradition now.
No, can't break it now. So I think, but it's just like, really, why can't we just have a film that ends? Why does it have to set up the next one? And I wonder, as we venture through these films, I feel like this might be happening more than once.
I think they knew what they had at
Yeah.
this point because the first film did well, didn't it? It was commercially, I think it was a bit more of a success for them. So
Yeah.
it led them into this other one. Second one is, I don't think ever is particularly favored too much with a lot of people. I don't remember it going down too positively.
Not with me.
This is when I'm in the dark officially because I've not watched any of the other ones.
Okay, so we have things to look forward to then, Brendan.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting going forward, but I agree with you. This film, as you can tell from my star rating, didn't really struck a whole lot of chords for me. It
No.
fell flat in more areas, and there was just ridiculous stuff. The stuff in the church,
The
I
church.
did
And the
I did
school as
laugh at it.
well. The school,
Yeah,
I mean, like, at least with the school, you get the dogs again, but it's just nowhere near as fun. It's
no,
just, you kind of want to enjoy it. And I think this one, you laugh at it or you find it annoying rather than
yeah,
kind of finding it almost in the first film. It's charming, isn't it? It's that cult vibe of going, it's bad but good. Whereas in the second one, it's just bad
yeah.
most of the time.
And also, it's something necessarily the first film doesn't suffer from this as much, but the second film does.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's longer, but it feels longer. That's for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Too long.
So you thought the second film was longer?
It felt longer.
So it's shorter by, I think, about 5 minutes.
That is amazing
Yeah.
because it definitely, I don't know if you feel the same, but it felt longer for me.
Yeah. Well, time flies when you have fun. Hey, Brendan. So there we go.
I was clearly not having fun.
No, not enough, clearly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, yeah, I've given it 2.5.
Where does that half a star mark up? Is it the fact that Nemesis shot the sniper with a rocket launcher?
I mean, the rocket launcher is good, isn't it? It's used on a helicopter as well, which blows
Yeah.
up more than one in a hit. So
Yeah.
2 for 1. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one.
That half
I kind of
star goes.
feel like it's 2, so I'm going to change my mind. New
Oh,
tip,
controversial. This is a first.
2 stars.
Scrap that beginning part.
Yeah, and I said to you on WhatsApp the other week, the first one's quite good. The second one, I think I described it as a turd.
You did. You said it was the turd. Was ringing in my ears, and when I watched it, I remembered this film is a steaming turd.
There you go. Well, that feels like a great place to end tonight's or today's recording. So brilliant. So it means we'll be back next time with the next 2 parts. So that is, I believe that's Extinction. Is it Extinction?
I really don't remember the names of these films.
All right, let's check, because people can now watch along if they wanted to.
Well, they can.
So it's Extinction. It's number 3, and then Afterlife is number 4. Now I'm going to let you into a secret, Brendan.
Go on.
I really liked Extinction, but we shall see what happens when we watch it again.
Well, feel free to watch along with us. We would love to hear your thoughts.
Join in. If you've got Prime Video, join in. If you haven't got Prime Video, sign up, get it free for 30 days.
There you go.
I think they still do that.
So I think they do if you're maybe first time Prime.
Yeah, we'll just have it for a month and cancel it.
Yeah, it's fine.
$7.99. Anyway, cool. Brendan, pleasure. Let's enjoy watching these films over the next week. So And I think I'm seeing your face in the flesh soon, aren't I? Which will be
I
great.
know, excited.
I know.
Very excited.
That's something for us to enjoy. But you will not be seeing any of that. Sorry. Anyway, it's goodbye from us, and more Frank's discussions to come soon. Be safe, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.